Next speaker here at OC Talk event is Likean00b, a very, very seasoned tournament player in the rank restricted world. You have, at least in the context of this talk, we'll be discussing how running into walls and sort of hyper focusing on specific goals can really be a detriment, and I guess also how sometimes that can be necessary for better or worse. But yes, without further ado, thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah. Just to prime the thing, because I understand there's like two different types of people: the people who understand tournaments and might be playing them, and the people that might just be here because they play solo. The only thing you need to know about tournaments is the base idea, which two people play the same map, who gets the better score wins. And that there are rank tierings. So like maybe only 5 digits can play the specific tournament, or only 6 digits can play the specific tournament. But that's about all you need to know about the whole tournament idea or tournament scene, I guess. So yeah, I'm like Anupavi did introduce me pretty well. I have been playing in tournaments since 2017, so it's been almost like 5.5 years by now. And when I first saw the overarching topic of this event of overcoming obstacles, I instantly thought back to that time when I was really in the weeds of the rank restricted tournament scene. And today I would kind of like to tell you my experience through those years and delve deeper into how maybe we define goals as well as obstacles, and maybe how we approach these obstacles to begin with. I hope by the end of this, I'll give you an avenue to think about how to think about obstacles, not just thinking about them in general terms. Because I think the word overcoming might be not a blanket term you can use for every obstacle that you encounter. So I did start tournaments in early 2017 about the skill range of what like the 6-digit realm is now. And I basically instantly fell in love with the idea of competition, the drive to beat people. I got third in the first ever tournament I played. So I really got super deep into the meta of tournaments very quickly. Before this was very common, I did scouting basically on everybody I like played against. And I really focused on picking up more niche skill sets. Like at this time, A-rate hidden was something that not everyone can really play well, or even just like small circle hard rock, anything that would give me an advantage. And I really just started to gear my play sessions to improve to win tournaments, which is great. It's very nice to have a goal for play sessions. I know a lot of people are like, play for fun, play for whatever, and that's like the end goal, right? But for me, it was beneficial for me to have a goal to get me to that point of having fun, and my goal was getting better at tournaments. Very quickly, and what I would like to call my tournament career, I ran into a monthly tournament called Rapid Tournaments. Basically, what it was is it was a monthly tournament that if you placed in, so like fourth and above, you would get invited into a invitational tournament. And if you won that invitational tournament, you would get a profile badge on your user page. And to me, that was the first time I heard about profile badges, and it really like struck me and like awestruck me. I was like, I can have this special thing that no one can really get put on their user page. A very selective amount of people can actually get this. So I tunnel visioned on it. I sat in the range for rapid tournaments, which was 30K to 100K, and I just continued to try to get better and better. And I sat in there for 2 whole years. This practice is pretty standard, even back then. Rather, because you just don't play a lot or whatever, you don't get ranks, but you're still really good. And it was working. I was getting better. I was feeling improvement. Our rank wasn't going up, but my consistency was getting better. Even through the many play style changes I did, I went from mouse to tablet back to mouse in that time. I was able to kind of still enjoy playing the game because I had this goal that I was set on. And the sandbagging worked for me. I got second place in the 5th invitational I got invited to. And the only reason why I didn't get first was because I had to play against probably the biggest D ranker in that rank range at the time. And that should have been the first problem I should have seen. I should have seen that there was a problem with the obstacle that I was looking at that was in between me and the goal. Is that it was moving. It wasn't based on what I can do. It was based on what other people were doing. And I think about moving the bar is something that you shouldn't be doing. Just like in general, like if you're working on a project, you should know like what you need to do to get an A on that project or work or whatever have you. So moving obstacles are super hard to pin down what you need to do yourself to get through that, right? So because I got second, I'm like, I'll just keep getting better. This guy who beat me, he can't play in these anymore because he has a badge. So I'll be good. I'll win the next one. And the following invitational that I got invited to, I podiumed again, but I got third. And after getting third in this invitational, I was so frustrated. I was so burnt out. I was so like, I'm doing everything I feel like I can be doing, but I'm still falling short. So I did what a lot of people tell you to do when you're burnt out. If you go out and you ask somebody, hey, I'm burnt out. What do I do I still want to play this game, but I'm burnt out and doing X, Y, and Z. What do I do? Usually they tell you to try something new, to approach the game differently. So that's exactly what I did. I ranked up from 29K to 12K, which is a huge jump in about a week and a half. I was farming my butt off, and my skill ceiling was definitely not realized at that point. It was unrealized. I could have kept going. I could have just kept playing this way, and who knows how good I could have gotten. But then I looked on the forum post and I saw a forum post. It said Wilted Tree Tour 2, which is a rank restricted World Cup tournament. And I instantly saw that and I'm like, I'm close to the rank range cutoff. I can slow down a little bit. I can enter in this tournament and maybe I can land myself on the USA team, which is usually like one of the best teams in any rank restricted tournament, like for World Cup or even like generally in World Cup tournaments. So I tried out and I got put onto the USA B team, which is not the A team, but it's still a spot. And I was like, okay, this sounds familiar, right? I'm going to continue working on myself, and this is the goal I'm setting for myself now. I sat in the rank range a lot. I played a lot of Score V2, did all the D rank or whatever stuff. And I eventually, 2 years later, five-digit World Cup, which is actually labeled five-digit World Cup this year for the first time ever, I got put onto the A team at that tournament. It was basically the biggest like five-digit tournament ever hosted. Winning it would be a crazy deal for anybody. Basically, every good five-digit player is playing this, and if they're not, they're on a B team or C team because there's people in their country that are better than them, even though they're still like a top 50 player. So I played. I put my heart into this tournament. I wanted to get this badge because then I'd be like, okay, I got everything I want now, and I can get like unshackle myself basically. And guess what happened? Third place, bronze, no badge. I was so distraught. I think this was the event that finally made me realize the problem with the obstacle I was going, like that was between me and my goal of getting a badge. I always knew that D rankers were a problem and they were the reason why I didn't have a badge, but I also understood that I was also a D ranker because I was trying to be better than these people. And at this point, I think I realized that this was actually hindering my enjoyment of the game. I was playing in every single tournament that had a badge to be won in it, and I was playing like 15 hours a week, practicing just map pools, doing like 8 or 9 matches on the weekends, and it was really like stressing me out to say less. So I thought about it a lot after losing in five-digit World Cup. And I was like, okay, let me rinse repeat. I did this before. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to start hyper farming. I'm going to just start getting better, work on my fundamentals, work on just getting better generally, and then I can play tournaments in the upper ones. That's okay. But something different happened this time. Around 6K, so I farmed from 12K to 6K, I started plateauing super hard. I started losing motivation to get better. I started seeing less results. And now I was stuck in a position where I was not good enough to compete in the tournaments above me. I mean, I could still get in, qualify, play like a match or two, and leave early. But I couldn't play the five-digit ones anymore. And I was really like I was at a crossroads. And then I started thinking about, man, I'm pissed at myself because I basically skill capped myself by sitting in five-digit for so long. All of that effort that I was putting in tournaments, I could have been putting in to get better. And then I think about my friends who I met playing tournaments who played like one or two and they continued to get better and continue to get better. And now they're better at me in solo and tournaments. They did not let a specific prowess in a specific rank range define who they really are in the game. And I think that's when tournaments become a hindrance. When you start to define yourself solely within the confines of like one or two set goals and not thinking about what you're doing in a big picture. I like to think about the box analogy, right? You have a box, you can put stuff in the box and you can close it up and it's not going to go anywhere. That's kind of what I did with my goals. I put my one big goal of getting a badge and putting it in this box. And then that obstacle followed it inside the box. And I stayed in that box for so long that I started feeling familiar with this box. I started feeling okay being in this box. And then when I finally decided it was time for me to get out of the box, for the box to deteriorate, for me to rank into 4 digits, they didn't know where to go. They liked this confines that I set, and they didn't want to spread out. So I think that's like main point number one. You need variety in your goals. You need variety in your goals so you're gonna have variety in the obstacles that you encounter. I like to think about this as like a network of goals and obstacles. There's like you can have 5 or 6 or 7 goals, and they're all spread out in, this can be applied to life too, not just OSU, but like let's stick to OSU for a second. Like you can have the goal of getting a badge, but you can also have the goal of getting this really cool like PP play, or you can have this goal of being better than your friend. And sometimes your obstacles will overlap between these. And that's kind of how I view like how you can go about obstacles. And it would be really easy for me to stop there and tell you like this is how you should be approaching obstacles. You should be spreading out your goals so your obstacles will spread out and you'll be able to look at them more in like very different angles, right? But it's really hard sometimes to see tangible obstacles, right? Like for example, look at that PP play. It's very easy to be like, okay, this is my obstacle getting this play. This is like a really jumpy map, so I need the aim. I need to practice the aim rather on this map or on other stuff or what have you. But like, what's the obstacle for winning a badge or for being better than your friend? So this is how I like to think about obstacles. Think about an obstacle that maybe you're dealing with right now, rather it be like an OSU one or just a general life one. Is it hindering progress towards a goal? Because an obstacle is really only an obstacle if it obstructs progress towards a goal. And so you ask yourself that question. And if it's not really explicitly obstructing a progress towards a goal, try to think about it in 2 different ways. You can rather think about it in the sense of, okay, let me morph this obstacle so it points towards a goal, or let's make a goal in order to try to push through this obstacle. That's a very simple one. A very like simple one is like maybe you haven't played in a while and you come back and your finger control is pretty bad. Well, you have no goal to like kind of set yourself going forward of like, okay, how do I get my finger control better? Okay, maybe I want to play this map and I want to be able to not finger lock in it because if I finger lock, I fail. Or maybe like there's this map I want to play and it's finger control heavy. Let me try to like get a higher like accuracy in it, like a 95 plus accuracy in it. That's one way you can think about it. The other way is really thinking about if there's a goal that you should set towards it. A very silly example, but a very easy example is like, imagine you're just a Hard Rock DT player. You love playing going fast all the time, 100%, and you really don't care about like reading. And you go into that one multiplayer lobby, and someone puts on a Yolks Pie AR7 map, and you can't read it at all. Well, maybe that's not like a priority to you. So maybe put that off to the side, sidestep it for a second, and don't hyper focus on it. And of course, this works the other way around too. This works towards goals as well. If you have a goal, but you can't picture the obstacle that might be associated with it, you're not going to be able to work towards that goal really efficiently, right? That was me for so long. I had this goal of getting a badge, but there was really like, I did not really understand the obstacle until it was too late. Because you really need to understand both the goal and the obstacle in order to truly address it, right? You need to be able to see your goal and then address the obstacle, because without that, you're kind of aimlessly going around. And I think this is the proper way to think about obstacles, not about really how to overcome them per se, but how to address them and figure out if they're worth tackling in the method you currently hold right now. 5-digit World Cup wasn't my last 5-digit tournament, actually. I played one more after that. While I was farming out of the range, I got asked to be on a team by my best friend Food. It consisted basically of me, him, and a bunch of our North American friends that we met along the 5-year journey that both of us have had. Most of them were like us. They were ranking up. They wanted to kind of get out of the range for one method or another. And this was kind of supposed to be our last hurrah in the 5-digit scene. So we played. We qualified. We won our first match. We kept winning. We won quarters. We won semis. And as we approached finals, we looked into the eyes of the 5-digit World Cup winners. They created a team themselves and they were playing. And in some twist of fate, we beat them in both finals and grand finals to take mine and most of my teammates' first OSU tournament badge. So did I overcome my obstacle by reaching my goal? I don't know. That's what I'm still trying to figure out. Thank you.